A psychological process. Everything that you need exists in this present moment, and this moment is all that exists. In its brief flicker, you will find all the time in the world. Through it, you will contact the living information that will guide you with infallible direction. This present moment is the stargate through which you will leave the prison of human definition and expand into an awareness of divine perception. It is the crack between the worlds, not only the worlds of past and future, but worlds of time and space, spirit and matter, form and being. It is a timeless zone, the gateway through which you will again begin to participate in the adventure of creation. Your entry into the eternal awesomeness of the present moment, into the presence of God, will be through what we call a psychological process. This process is a process of identity shift, a process through which balance is restored in your awareness of the two realities. Through it, you begin to realize that you are not the form you animate, but the force of animation itself. Through it, you will reawaken to an awareness of all that you are in spirit and in wholeness. It is a process that will return you to a state of grace, a state of health, a state of intimate association with all that is. This state already exists. It always has. Yet most human beings are blinded to it by the incessant machinations of the rational thought processes that they worship instead of God and His simple truth. It is important that you recognize the creative power of your thoughts, a power far beyond your knowledge. As long as you think negatively, life will only allow you a token share of consciousness, lest you spread disease. But the moment your thoughts are of love and life, the Lord will flood you with His own awareness, and you will enjoy the wonder of His perception. You were born to share in His creative power. The stuff of which you are made is so charged with the ability to create that everything you touch comes to life, every thought, every identity, every image. You are the energizing force of the material plane, the bringer of life, the bestower of blessing, and the sustainer of illusion. Through you, God is able to enter the very heart of creations. Through you, God is revealed in material form. You are both child of God and child of matter, yet you cannot serve both masters. Whatsoever you bind in consciousness will be bound in matter, and whatsoever you bind in matter will be bound in consciousness. You are the creator at this time of your own reality. If you would know the creator of a great reality, lay down your thoughts as you would a hoe after a day in the garden. The greater reality calls you now. You are required in its service. Your embryonic period is over. Gestation is complete. The moment of birth at hand. To re-enter the presence of God, you must first leave the presence of Satan. You have lived in the presence of Satan for all the years of your history. In fear, you have been led far from your home in a state of grace and deeply into worlds of elemental forces and bonded energy patterns. Now is the time to leave this prison. You need not leave your physical bodies, nor the objects of the physical plane, but you must leave your interpretations of what those objects and bodies are. Your interpretations and definitions only reflect the distortion of your subjective perspective. Interpretations are what stand between you and the clarity of perception that you will need to do the work that lies ahead. You must release them with your thoughts, with your dreams, with your hopes, and with your fears. They may seem to be insignificant, ethereal things floating gently through your mind, but do not be misled by their apparent lack of substance. They are the stuff that wars are made of, the harbingers of death, the agents of disease and destruction. With the energy that you give them, through your attention, they have the strength to cripple a planet. Remember the tree in the center of the garden. Why do you suppose the Lord forbade the first humans to eat of the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil? Only one with a consciousness of the whole of creation is in a position to determine the good and evil as it pertains to the various creatures. In the other reality, the first humans shared in the holistic perspective of the Creator. But in the form reality, their perspective was decidedly subjective, incapable of accurately assessing the needs of the whole. They could not creatively direct the course of those who had projected forms functioning within creation. Only the totality of consciousness, God the Father, the Creator, was in that position. So long as they had trust in Him and were willing to function within the range of their design, within the context of the Creator's own internal dynamics, they had complete freedom to enjoy the created realms. Choosing to partake of the forbidden fruit, these first representatives of deity stepped outside the range of their designated function, consequently outside the range of the creative energy that was available to them according to the nature of their design. This was the beginning of disease, aging, and death, the beginning of their pattern of false identity, and the beginning of human history. The pattern of false identity has lasted to this day, and while it has not critically affected the gestation period, it has certainly made it less enjoyable. Can you see more clearly now why it is essential in these closing years of the cycle to release your interpretations? They belong to the past, and life exists eternally in the present. You were intended to share in this eternal life, but to do so you must release identification with the past, release identification with the material garments you wear, and accept the creative definition that life gives to you in this present moment. What do you call Satan? His body is the past, his breath the future. Energized by your past-oriented guilt and your future-oriented fear, he follows you around like some vast cosmic shadow. He casts his nets of fear on the waters of your awareness, then draws them with ropes of reason back into a guilt-ridden past. For the sake of illustration, your presence could be compared to an inflatable membrane designed to be filled to the full with the energy and power of life. Like two enormous rips in the side, guilt and fear allow the precious life substance to escape, leaving you withered, ineffectual, and short-lived, all the while using your own life substance to energize everything that you fear. It is easy to reverse the situation. Let yourself die to the past and wake up in the present moment. Why should you hesitate? Are your past experiences really comprehensive enough to provide a basis for understanding everything you encounter in the present? Do they truly deserve the authority and the credibility that you give them? How attentive were you to all the factors that were present in the moment of their occurrence? If you are preoccupied with experience, how attentive will you be to what is occurring in the moment? Where is your attention now? You are where your attention takes you. In fact, you are your attention. If your attention is fragmented, you are fragmented. When your attention is in the past, you are in the past. When your attention is in the present moment, you are in the presence of God, and God is present in you. Let yourself die to all that does not really exist and discover what does. Let go of all you think you know. Be honest. All you know is of the past. It does not exist in the eyes of God. In the eyes of God, your knowledge is but dust in the eye of a child, blinding you to the splendor of creation. You know, in effect, nothing of eternal significance. When you operate on the basis of your so-called knowledge, you are operating without divine foundation. Belief in your own knowledge is not belief in God. Trust in your own knowledge is not trust in God. No matter how much you learn within your present framework of finite knowledge, it will never be even one step closer to an understanding of God, the universe, or yourself. Knowledge, as you presently understand it, will never bring you closer to life. Do not cling in imagined righteousness to this or that segment of your experience, as if this or that piece of the past were somehow worth the saving. Well, you say, I will die to everything but this. This is too sacred. This means too much to me. Let it go. Does it mean more than life? You don't need it anymore, whatever it might be. Perhaps you are concerned that some aspect of your identity will not survive the psychological process. You may be right, but you may just as well be wrong. Let it go. It makes absolutely no difference. There are no guarantees that this or that is going to survive the sight of God. But the only things that are threatened, the only things that will not survive, are things that do not exist apart from your conception, things that have no reality apart from the reality that you give them. All that is essential to you is being sustained by the creative power of the living God. All that you sustain in existence through the misuse of your creative abilities only serves to involve you in areas where your own life energies become mischanneled and eventually dissipated. Any belief, any concept, any conviction that you might have that truly mirrors what is present in the mind of God will still be there on the other side of the psychological process. So you have nothing to fear in releasing these things. All that has been sanctified by God will continue to exist. Only that which is sought to cheat you of your destiny will perish. It is really very simple. Let it all go. See what the Lord has in store. Any hesitation that you feel is only indicative of a continued trust in fear and reason. These are the false gods of this age. They will continue to enslave you until your trust is restored in love and life. Trust God implicitly, and the truth of His divine design will be revealed in every situation. This design is your own operating manual. Ignore it in favor of your own interpretations, and you are ignoring the blueprint for your identity. Specific information for each and every situation is being supplied to you constantly by the source of infinite knowledge. Why not trust it? Your first impulse will always be, as it has always been, the programmatic instruction from your subliminal analysis system, the advice of your Creator. It will be a direct message from your true self, the impulse of life, the gateway to all that you call heaven. It is the spontaneous spark of divinity as it differentiates through you into your environmental situation. It can assess and evaluate the factors present in any situation at a rate of speed far exceeding a rational thought process. You have all the pertinent information in the universe available simply for the asking. When you are aware of your totality, the life impulse will transmit to you everything that you need to know in any given situation. Its message will always come as your first spontaneous impulse. Be attentive. Okay, I'll just have a couple of minutes here before this tape ends. And I want to say that you can hear this entire book. I put the playlist for it in the information bar. And I want to just mention this fact. Some of the dates given and some of the prognoses, I guess, of what should already have been. Maybe that giving these dates, he missed it there, I don't know. I just know that something like the shift would have to be, well, you have to have the flux, what do you call it, in Back to the Future, the flux capacitor, because sometimes things slow down and they can't come off at the same rate that you once thought they could, and sometimes they speed up and they'll go faster. So you can't have something set in stone, set in precise dates, because I think that's always a mistake to put dates. but this author did put some dates in there, and that might throw you a bit. But I do think this is all very much believable, even though the dates don't seem to be. I mean, it seems that by now the financiers, the bankers would have gotten some of this message, and judging from what is going on today, they haven't gotten it yet, but maybe they're just about to, because there's so much of this opposition from the 99% to the 1% saying, look, this is not fair, this is not good. And I think this is a very definite sign of the times we're in, and it's a very wonderful sign. It means change is coming, and I'm really excited about it. And I hope you've enjoyed this, and if you would like to hear it all, just click on that URL address that you will find in the description bar. This is your friend, the Dove Lady, over and out.